Hey everyone. Hey, so today's topic we are covering for our group project for our discussion will be is Down syndrome. Now, specifically we're going to be talking about what is more of a common symptoms and what is something that we can look into what is the condition actually happened. So when it comes to the symptoms, Down syndrome affect people in both ways. It could be physically and developmentally, and it could be look a little bit different than everyone else. And so now we're going to talk about physically. So physically, you would notice how a Down syndrome will have a flattened facial. And then they also have their almond shaped eyes that is slightly upwards, and then they are shorter in height. Now, typically in babies, they often have to have a lower muscle tone, so which can make them a little bit more of a a floppy when they are small. Now, so development is usually takes the individual a little bit longer to hit their milestones like talking, walking, or even learning new things. Most people have a mild to moderate of intellectual delays, but they also actually can have a way to continue to grow and to be able to throughout their lives. Now, how does this happen? Now, to look at it as a transmitted, it is actually really important to clarify that Down syndrome is not a disease that you could just like catch it or, pass it on to someone else. That's not the case. It is all about a genetic condition. Most people have about 46 chromosomes. When it is kind of like a body instructional manual with Down syndrome happens, that because of there is a error that happened in the cell division that is given the baby an extra copy of a chromosome of 21. So there are three copies and two of them because instead of two. So what they called it as a trisomy 21. About 95% of the cases, this way is just a random chance. So there are two where type of that is called mosaic, and a translocation. While the translocation can occasionally can pass down by a parent who carries the genes, but the vast majority at the time the Down syndrome is not inherited. It's not. It has nothing to do with the parent at all. Nothing at all. Nothing. All right. Nothing what they do or say or whatever it is. Nothing. So understanding that these traits and the genetic cause that can be able to help us a better understanding of what it is for our community to understand about Down syndrome. Now we are going to come up with the topic as called as the ethnic concern. Ethnic concern is something that needs to be addressed that is in our surrounding. Okay, so Down syndrome is these conversations that usually focus on medical terminology, human rights, and how society views disability. So the biggest ethnic debate that comes from that's come from parental screening that they can detect Down syndrome at that early stage to find out if the baby has Down syndrome or not. Because of the high percentage of these diagnoses lead to determination, because it raises tough questions that disability advocate argues that using genetic testing this way borders on a risk of sending a wrong message that life with disability has less value. So, connecting to how the medical professional delivers the news, many of the families reported that doctors present as Down syndrome as a tragedy. Focus on strictly on medical problems, ethnic care providers need to offer a balance of view that includes the fact that the modern support with the model support of Down syndrome, and they live incredibly happy, fulfilling lives. Lastly, the ethnic of the autonomy. So in the past few of people with the intellectual disability, they have a very little say of their own lives. So today ethnic pushes is all about inclusion and self-determination. And to ensure that they have the right to make their own choices regarding with their education, their housing, their jobs as they grow up. So ultimately, these ethnic challenges remind us that our goal shouldn't just be about medical management, but is to create a world where everyone is feeling value and equal. So this just going to help us even more of what understanding of what is Down syndrome is for our community, for us to be able to gather and to help one another. All right. I will thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great day and stay safe. Bye.